Let's talk Bobulinski. Tucker had this interview last night on Fox News, and it's amazing. Fox has this unique space in this election cycle called the only cable news channel that will put a massive news story on air that is, yes, damaging to Democrats, but is completely newsworthy, verified, and should be the biggest news story really in the country. Well, I actually believe in some way. Well, no. I mean, it's between this and the riots, but the Bobulinski thing I know has been building up for a longer time, and we've seen a lot of riots, but I just think people should be reminded of that before they go in and decide, am I going to vote for Democrats or Republicans? Am I going to vote for the riot party or the Republican Party? But here's what we know after this this lengthy sit down with Bobulinski. This guy has the Bidens absolutely nailed. Okay, we now see that Joe Biden probably got some ideas from the way Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton were conducting their business. They've turned politics into a brand for self-enrichment. But it's worse than that. You know, if Joe Biden and his family were taking money from, say, I don't know, they were taking money from, some country in like Romania. If they were taking money from a country that we have very limited foreign policy and national security interest in, you'd say, oh, okay. I mean, it's corrupt. It's gross. They're taking money from China. That's a big deal because China is a true global rival to the United States now. We're really just waking up to that fact. We had been, I think, deluding ourselves on a bipartisan basis for a long time. But China is a near peer competitor, and it has a much larger population than we do, and it's only going to become more aggressive and more problematic for us on the world stage. That's what we're heading toward right now. And the then vice president was having his son cut deals with very senior figures in the Chinese Communist Party that would put millions and millions of dollars into the hands of Biden family members. And we're supposed to believe this is not a story? That this doesn't matter? There are so many levels at which this does matter. And what I've been saying to you, I want to be very clear. It's not that I don't think this should change minds of voters. I'm just saying because of the power of the media and their ability to have a blackout and to suppress and the way that they cover things, the way they can mold perception, I don't think this Bobulinski story is going to be the difference maker. Could be wrong, but I don't think that's the case. I see Senator Ted Cruz. I've been saying that for a couple of weeks. Senator Ted Cruz said that in an interview with Axios. Now, I'm not the only one that thinks this way. And I'm glad that there are others who are jumping on board the train here because let's be real about this. The reason that people are going to come out and vote for Trump at this late stage would be they think he's going to make their lives better. And Joe Biden being corrupt and sleazy probably isn't going to make a difference to their thinking. We'll see. But that's the point, though, isn't it? That Joe Biden is corrupt and sleazy. I mean, that's really the big takeaway, which is a problem for the Democrats because they've been positioning him as this ethical guy who's going to be a return to having a good moral person in the White House. A return to having, look, say what you will about Obama. He waited until he left the White House to cash in on his political fame and fortune, and he's allowed to. I'm a capitalist. Biden was leveraging the office while he was in office to get paid by a country that's not yet an enemy, but is definitely an opponent. Definitely an opponent. And the media wants to pretend like that's not a big deal. Or that it didn't even happen, or that it's not true. Notice how the explanation for the lack of coverage or the way they cover it keeps changing. If there were a good reason not to show the Bobulinski story on TV or in newspapers, if there were one reason that was clear, that would be what you'd hear everywhere. Instead, what you have is, We can't vet it. It's not verified. He's biased. It's not a big deal. It's not really a story. Instead, what you have is a series of essentially objections based on partisan political reasons for why they don't want to air this stuff. And none of that adds up to an honest and ethical core of journos. We know that much. That's not what's happening with all of this. They have completely disgraced themselves. Absolutely disgraced themselves. But they also realize there's money at stake here, folks. There's fame. Remember that. This is not just the journos out there prefer Joe Biden, and so politically speaking, they have an interest in making sure that he wins this election. It's for them. I mean, I'm talking about the New York Times, the Washington Post, CNN, MSNBC, and all the rest. It's about, are they going to have special access to the White House press secretary, the president, the Oval Office? Are they going to be able to write stories about an administration that's doing everything that they want them to do, and where they can just use all the anonymous sources they want from the White House to back up whatever it is that the journos wanted to say in the first place? Think about it. There's money at stake. There's power. There's privilege and position. So it's not just a function of who the libs want to win. It's who the libs think will most benefit them by winning. That's why this game is so dirty. That's why it's so clear that they're putting their thumb on the scale for one side. Tony Bobulinski is a problem for them in that regard. There's no way to cover the story. I watched that interview last night. There's no way to cover that story and make him look like a crackpot or a fool, or, they tried this thing with Giuliani, and even Borat got in on it, right? Oh, Rudy Giuliani's a Russian asset. And what's so amazing is the reason Bobulinski said he came forward is because Adam Schiff, who's the most morally immoral, the most disgusting liar in the United States Congress, right? We got a bunch of mosts on the Democrat side. The dumbest, Mazie Hirono, the biggest liar, Adam Schiff. And he called Bobulinski a Russian asset. Bobulinski is a Navy veteran. He held a high-level security clearance. I'll tell you this right now. If I were back in private life and had never been a media, and I just gotten out of the CIA, and somehow someone tried to indicate that I was a Russian asset, a traitor to this country, you're damn right I'd go to the mat. I'd go all out to clear my name right away and to hold accountable the liars out there, right? When you're someone who served your country in particular, it's true, I think, of any patriotic American, but you've served your country, and then you're going to have someone say that you're a tool of Russia? When you're a private citizen, you're not even in the political debate? So it makes complete sense for Bobulinski to finally say, nuh-uh, sorry, not going to allow this game to be played. So he came forward. And the bigger problem now that the Democrats have to deal with, obviously, they're not going to cover this spot. They're not going to cover this before the election. It's not going to happen. And I do believe some of the reporting out there that's saying that there have been threats from inside the Biden campaign. Any reporter who touches this will be blackballed. It matters a lot, folks. You get an interview with the president, it's worth clicks, it's worth fame, it's worth money. Matters a lot. And it's not a fair game. It is all about connections. It is all about who they want to give, the interview to. It's very, Republican or Democrat administration. It's not a fair system. There is no such thing. So understand that. But I do believe the reports that say that journalists are worried they'll be blackballed if they cover this Bobulinski story in a Biden administration. And they already feel like they're essentially out in the cold with the Trump administration. So once again, understand their interests. Follow the money and the power here, and you'll understand exactly why certain stories are being told and others are not. Hey, Team Buck, thank you so much for watching The First on YouTube. If you like this video, please click that little thumbs up button so then it will log as liked. And also, if you want to see more great content from The First, please click subscribe.